Hey, what's up guys, Mac here with my first impressions of ScreamRide. I personally played on the Xbox One, although the game is also available on the 360, starting on March 3rd, 2015 for approximately $40. Now, for those that don't know, ScreamRide is a physics-based roller coaster game that tries to combine creativity and destruction into one package. At this point, I'm just going to get straight into the review and talk about my personal thoughts. Graphically, this game is not that great. You can see the futuristic visual style on the screen, but overall, the textures and the quality of the graphics aren't necessarily that great, which isn't really a huge deal for a game like this. You're not probably looking for extreme ultra realism. But it should be noted that this can very easily be confused with a Xbox 360 last gen title, and nothing about the visuals screams next gen to me. The music is also a little bit bland, but somewhat appropriate for a game like this, so I don't really have any issues there, but don't expect to be blown out of the water with the music either. ScreamRide comes with a career mode as well as a sandbox mode and some other options available in there. In the career, there are 3 total modes, all equally unique and challenging, and all offering different score-based challenges as well as bonus challenges if you want to unlock all the stars in each level. The first game mode you'll be playing is called ScreamRide, where you take control of a roller coaster around a track, and you try to gain the most points by keeping that cabin on the track while having good speed and using turbo and jumps in order to get through the track. This one has a good sense of speed, it's very reliant on timing, and has a good risk and reward factor, which is very nice to have in that game mode. The second game mode you'll see is Demolition, where you are tasked with creating as much destruction as humanly possible within a certain time period, using a certain amount of cabins on a certain level. This was one of my early favorite game modes, but later on I felt as though it became extremely frustrating and extremely luck-based, and I didn't have as much fun with some of the later Demolition levels because I felt like it was extremely hard for me to be able to do what I actually wanted to do while launching the cabins into some of the destructible buildings. Now, the third mode, which actually ended up being my personal favorite, is definitely the engineer mode, where you're tasked with building a roller coaster with one of 2 objectives. You are either going to build one to thrill the people riding it, or you're going to build a roller coaster to destroy. Building a roller coaster to destroy isn't really that complex. You're just going to set up a track in order to launch some cabins into buildings. It's kind of a combination of engineer and demolish. And then building to thrill is actually building a 100% successful coaster where the actual people riding on it can get from the beginning back, loop around to the end, and you're trying to make them have the most possible fun. You're also trying to complete different objectives while you're building your coaster, making sure it has reaches a certain amount of speed, making sure the riders don't get too nauseous, things like that. There's a good difficulty spike in this game mode as well, and I really did enjoy creating my own coasters and getting crazy with stuff. Now, as I mentioned, all 3 of these game modes are very unique. None of them feel like each other, but also none of them are as in-depth as I would have liked to see, and some of them feel like they're missing features, and there's a little bit of a lack of freedom from my viewpoint. As an example, in the ScreamRide mode, I would have liked to see some kind of on-screen notifications as to when my coaster is about to derail. Unfortunately, you just kind of have to use the vibration of your controller and your general judgment to see if you'll get around. Also, in engineering mode, although it is quite complex and in-depth, there were times where I actually did struggle to reach certain parts of the track. If for whatever reason you're building a track and then you delete the middle of the track and kind of complete that section you were working on before, it can be very hard to get onto an older piece of track that you want to delete without completely demolishing everything and kind of starting over. So there was a little bit of a lack of freedom, and I felt like there were some features missing from the actual career mode. I do know that there's quite a bit more features in the sandbox mode, but it would have been nice in engineering mode, for example, to change the color of your coasters and change the cabins and stuff like that, but I don't think that's available within the career mode, only available in sandbox mode, which is too bad. Now, the game does actually have decent value in my opinion. It is coming in at $40, which might seem like a lot for a mini game kind of based roller coaster game, but you do get 60 career levels, and those will last you at least 15 to 20 plus hours, probably closer to 25 or 30 if you do actually plan on getting all the achievements and getting 100% on every level. And there is actually quite a fun to be had. Even though there are wonky camera angles, there's no multiplayer other than sharing and leaderboards. And don't get confused, this is not a roller coaster tycoon game. There's no tycooning to be had in this game. You don't make money building an amusement park. You don't even make an amusement park. You can just make roller coasters and theme rides and stuff like that, but you don't actually control pricing. There's no actual customers. You don't actually have to please people in a certain way. You're just tasked with making stuff, destroying stuff, and riding coasters in order to fulfill somewhat meaningless tasks and objectives. I would have loved to see some kind of a tycoon aspect of this game, even if it wasn't a full tycoon game. I would have loved opening up some kind of an amusement park and having one super crazy roller coasters where some people would love to go, and then also building some more laid-back coasters where I could, you know, have other people in the park and stuff go, but there is no park and stuff to be had, unfortunately. Now, as you might have been talking, you might have heard some things that I said that might have made you think about what you can compare this game to. And although I don't like comparing games, Trials Fusion is actually a really close comparison. Both of the games are very easy to play but hard to master. They have a very risk and reward heavy type of style, and a lot of your competition is going to be done through the leaderboard and scoring, trying to get a better and better score. And in the ScreamRide especially, you can just quick tap on the D-pad and it'll automatically restart you at the beginning of the track. If you do fail out on a corner, that's something you're going to do. And it did actually really remind me of Trials Fusion. Even the futuristic visual style, it is quite similar. Now, overall, what are my recommendations for ScreamRide? ScreamRide is a very creative premise, and although it doesn't have great graphics or music, that can easily be overlooked for some of the fun it does offer. There are some execution issues with the in-depthness of certain game modes and the amount of freedom you get. Again, there's no multiplayer, so there might be a little bit of lack of replay value, even though there is decent value in one playthrough of the career mode. I don't think people who are currently busy with other games will really find a reason to go and get this, but people who are looking for a week or two or maybe even 3 weeks of enjoyment, they really like open sandbox style games where you can just build crazy coasters and ride them, they're gonna have a good time. The game does successfully accomplish the task of allowing players to get creative with roller coasters, creating crazy roller coasters, and then allowing them to ride and test their own roller coasters and share those with other people, but you'll want to keep all the other things I've mentioned in mind before making up your own mind. Hopefully you guys did enjoy my video review. Thank you guys for watching. If you did find it somewhat helpful or informational, you can please like the video. That would help me out a lot. If you have any further questions or you have something to say about the video, you can comment down below in the YouTube comments, and hopefully you'll also subscribe for future content, and I'll see you then. Peace.